Hey everybody, I'm Frank Padgett and I'm 57 years old.
And I'm Ashley Padgett, and I'm 31.
And we've created this series called Conversations with My Daughter. This is a space where a father, that's me, and my daughter,
That's me.
we sit down and we talk about real life as it really happens.
We talk about faith, family, relationships, failures, successes, legacy, and everything in between.
No scripts, no pretending, just real conversations.
So, whether you're navigating your own timeline, figuring out your relationships, or just learning through setbacks, we hope we add something of value to you.
All right, let's get into it.
Hello, guys. Welcome back to Conversations with My Daughter. I'm Daughter.
And I'm Dad, I'm Frank.
I'm Ashley. And this is a part 2 from our conversation
Yes.
last week. What does healthy relationships actually feel like? So,
right.
what were we talking about before the camera started?
Actually, we were talking about deal breakers because in the last episode we were talking in part 1. I think we finished on deal breakers, so we were talking about that, and you had asked me what my deal breakers were, but the one thing I didn't do is ask you what your deal breakers are. Because see, I'm hooked up. I'm already hooked up. There's been in this coming June it'll be 35 years, so
Yeah.
It's like, but you are not. So because you're not, what are your deal breakers?
So I think one of my main deal breakers, aside from being equally yoked in faith, we have to believe the same faith, because if we don't, it just won't work. I've tried dating outside of my faith, and it just crashed and burned. So other than that, you need to have drive and goals, something that you're working towards. I don't want to date someone who's just going to sit on the couch playing video games all day. Now, if you are a streamer and playing video games is your job, that's one thing. Yeah. But if you have no job and you're just like lazy, playing video games all day.
No, we're not doing that.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Then you're probably not the one for me. Another deal breaker, if you don't like to move your body, exercise, hike, just be adventurous, then we probably won't get along too well. I mean, I know that like people can, they can get into it. Like, you don't have to like hike Mount Everest every day, because I'm not gonna do that. But at least like move your body. Like, don't just, again, like stay on the couch or stay in bed, or So yeah, those are some of my my deal breakers. Cheating is a no.
Yeah.
And even though you've cheated in the past, because the saying goes, once a cheater, always a cheater. And sometimes that's not necessarily true, but more often than not, that is very true. And I just don't really deal with that. Smoking, drinking, I'm not a smoker, I'm not a drinker. I will be friends with you, but I won't take it further than friends. I'm sorry.
I got you. I mean, those are good deal breakers. So, and basically what you're talking about is making sure you want a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
Healthy relationship and physical health, mental health.
Yeah.
And someone. Yeah, I think the point that you bring up very important, because as I said in the previous episode that we did, I think most women want somebody, a man that has a bit of drive.
Yeah.
That has a plan. Even if the man can't articulate the plan fully, he wants to do something.
Yeah.
Not just like do the same old routine, go to work, come home, hang out, sit on the couch, watch football. And there's nothing wrong with those things, but I think most people want a bit more.
Yeah.
Especially now it's one thing if opportunities are limited.
Yeah.
But listen, I mean, in the world we live in, just the technologies that are available, understanding how to utilize AI to your advantage. There's a lot of opportunities that people can actually take advantage of.
Yeah.
And so if a man says there are no opportunities out here, I'll be like, what? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I mean, there's opportunities to start businesses.
Yeah.
Now, I know a lot of people work in various industries. AI is disrupting those industries. I get that. But there are some things that are never, I don't want to say never, but it's going to be a very long time before they go out of demand.
Yeah.
The majority of trades, for men who are looking for I don't know what I want my career path to be, I will say this. And my father told me this a long time ago. I was a teenager. And this was his opinion. And I agree with this opinion. He said he believed that every man should know how to do something with their hands.
Yeah.
And he said, I don't care if you have a white collar job. He said, but if there are ever cutbacks or reductions in force and stuff like that, you could, be one of the ones who get let go. But if you know how to do something with your hands, he said, even if it's painting, people always need stuff done at their homes. You can always be able to go out and earn enough to take care of you and your family. That was his thing.
Notice how I didn't say anything about salary.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything about height.
Right.
I didn't say anything about looks.
Yeah, I got you.
I didn't say anything about personality, but please have a good personality.
Yeah.
Because personality is a lot better than looks anyway.
Yeah.
And there was this thing on Threads. I think we talked about this.
Okay. All right.
The thing on Threads when the guy said, if a girl is a 7 but her personality is a 10.
Yeah, you did mention that to me.
So if a guy is a 6 but his personality is a 10, he is definitely a 10.
Yeah.
Because personality overlooks
Sure.
all day. Let's move into, because you touched on this a little bit, but I want to talk more about it. Peace versus intensity.
Gotcha. Now, but first, before we get into that, so that we can dive in properly, when you say intensity, what do you mean when you say intensity?
More so like drama in the relationship.
Okay, all right.
And it doesn't even have to be a romantic relationship. This is for relationships all across the board.
I got you.
Romantic, friendship,
right.
Family.
Right. So peace versus intensity. What?
Not really. Which do you prefer?
Question?
Because I know which one you prefer.
Oh, you know which one I prefer. I mean, all that intensity stuff. No. Life is hard.
Now, I will ask you this question.
Go ahead.
Because we are not drama-filled people. We have a lot of peace in our home.
Yes.
And that's one thing that I like about our home, because every time someone comes over, they always say, your home is so peaceful.
Yeah.
I love that. I try to make a peaceful home.
I thank God for that. So.
But do you find yourself watching videos of drama just to see how other people are?
That's a good question. I think, do I intentionally go and watch those videos to see the drama in the lives of people? No, because you're just exposed to so much. I've seen enough videos, more than enough videos of just the drama that exists in people's lives. And here's the thing, this is what I've noticed. When you start watching that stuff, you internalize that stuff. That stuff has a tendency to drain you.
Yeah.
And it's not even you. It's somebody else's problem, but it's not you. So if you remember that saying that I say from time to time, it's not my saying, but I got it from a friend of mine. He said his grandfather told him years ago, and the one that goes, "There's two natures that dwell between my breasts. One is foul and one is blessed. One I love and one I hate. The one I feed will dominate."
Yeah.
So if someone is constantly being fed or constantly feeds themselves a diet of drama and intensity, that's how they're going to show up wherever they are. Now, do they intend to show up that way? No, they don't. They don't. And then some people do, because they feel like this is me. This is who I am. This is my calling card. So I don't have to be any better. But I think that we all should be working on ourselves to be the best version of ourselves as possible. But I think as you consume that stuff, so whatever you consume the most, that's who you're going to be. And that's the thing I think that most people don't get. You know, drama gets the clicks.
Yeah.
You know, people, you know, it gets that algorithm moving quick.
Yeah.
And people are, you know, get sucked into that. But ultimately the negativity behind it and the damage that it does to the consumer, if that's the majority of the stuff that you if that's the majority of your diet, it has a negative effect on you.
Okay.
So give me peace any day. Any day.
Now, speaking of that, I want to switch just a little bit, because I was watching a service that was done in 2013, and the preacher, he said something. He said he was talking about niceness versus kindness. And he was saying that you can be nice and still not like the person, but it's better to be kind, because kindness, you treat everybody like family.
Right. Very true. Very true. No, that's good. Now, I have this thing that I say to people, and I got this from a friend of mine. He said this to me years ago, and I never forgot it. I am commanded to love everybody. So that goes with that kindness, right? So I'm going to be kind to you. But I'm not commanded to like everybody.
Right.
And I think too many times people, when they're in relationships, whether, I'm not talking about necessarily dating relationships or married relationships or whatever. Let's just use the family dynamic, right? People do things, you know, because they are a part of your family or your friend group or whatever. We have a responsibility to love everybody. Because if we love them, we're going to treat them like we want to be treated.
Right.
But you don't have a responsibility to like everybody.
Right.
And when I mean like everybody, I'm talking about, there are just some things that people do. It's just like, it might be foul. And we don't have to like that.
Right.
But if we love them beyond themselves and see the greater good that's in them, we might potentially have a positive impact on their lives and helping them to become a better version of themselves. So that's a good point that he brought up.
Now, what if there is no greater good beyond themselves? Because there are a lot of families out there where it's just destruction and meanness and just all bad. You can't see anything good in that family.
Well, here's the thing. I'll push back on that from you, because as long as humans are breathing, they have an opportunity to become a better version of themselves. Now, so let's peel that onion just a little bit. Just a little bit. I know we have other things to talk about. So if there are generations of just dysfunction, and we as humans, we're all dysfunctional in some way. All dysfunctional. But if there's generations of dysfunction and people become culturally conditioned to think that this is just how it is, and some people, you know, who come from just very dysfunctional backgrounds, they feel like everybody's like this. Until they get out in the real world and be like, yeah, y'all are kind of different, you know. And then they start to see, no, everybody's not like this. But we as humans, we're always evolving. So the attitudes that we have at 20 years old, when we get 30 years old and 40 years old and 50 years old, those attitudes change over time. If a 50-year-old is still hanging on to the same attitudes that he had when he was 20, something's wrong. Because he's not maturing. Now there's no specific scale to measure maturity and growth. But if you're still holding on to certain things, and some things you do hold on to, but some childish things, you got to let go of. And so that's why I push back, because there's always that one person in every family who says, this stops with me. I will be the one who will break this, quote unquote, whether it's a generational curse. I will be the one that will become the first millionaire in my family. I will be the one to do that. And that person shows up. So nothing lasts forever. And it only takes one brave person to step out there and just say, this is my family. This is my legacy. Yeah, this is where we came from, because all of this generation, I don't want to even call it a curse, but maybe that's what it is. But all these generations of dysfunction have stemmed from somewhere. And a lot of times we don't deal with the systemic issues as to what brought that on. We just focus on dealing with the symptoms that we see. But all it takes is one brave soul to say, hey, no, this stops with me. No, we're going to be better. And the we're going to be better generally starts with, I'm going to be better.
All right, let's get back on topic.
All right, no. All right, no
I
problem.
just
you know
wanted,
me. You know me.
I just wanted to throw that out there. But
y'all forgive me now.
Yeah, me too. I'm sorry. Sometimes we can go off on tangents, but we'll reel it back in.
Yeah, that's right.
So let's talk about the phrase, if he wanted to, he would, which I think that phrase can be said for both genders. If she wanted to, she would. Because yes, if he wanted to, he would. If he wanted to buy me flowers, he would. If he wanted to plan a date, he would. If he wanted to pick me up for the date, he would. Blah, blah, blah. But if she wanted to treat me right, she would. If she wanted to be submissive, she would. If she wanted to... So it's like, does that... And I know that the phrase is big, and all the girls, they love to say, well, if he wanted to, he would. And if he's not, then he don't want to. And he didn't want to do it with me, but he would do it for somebody else. So if he wanted to, he would. So I guess my question is, do you think that phrase really means what everyone thinks it means? Because even in me, what I've seen guys treat girls, I'm not going to say like trash, but kind of that way. And then when they moved on to the next girl, they treated her right. So my thing is, I don't really think that's a, if he wanted to, he would.
Okay.
It's part of it, but I feel like he kind of learned from his actions from his last relationship. Okay. So what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, that's a very broad term, and that can be a lot to unpack. But I'll say this. So if he wanted to, he would. Yes. So to your example, a guy's in a relationship. He treats the woman not like she should be treated. Then he gets into another relationship and he treats this woman well, right? So the pendulum swings both ways, here. So number one, most people will do what others will allow them to do. Mm-hmm. So if he's treating this woman in relationship A bad, I'm not going to say that she's allowing him to do it, but depending upon how long he's in the relationship, sometimes she may be enabling him to do it. She may not be standing up for herself because nobody wants to be mistreated.
Yeah.
So if he's mistreating this person and the person isn't necessarily standing up, and sometimes, and this is unfortunate, sometimes we as people give others a license to do certain things, treat us in a manner where we shouldn't be treated. So, but the individual, I'm not giving him a pass either.
Yeah.
You know, he should treat people like he wants to be treated. So he goes into the next relationship and he treats her with respect, dignity, and honor. Why? Because that's what she demands.
Yeah.
You know, everybody, I think we talked about this before, about just having standards.
Yeah.
You know, standing for something, or if you don't, you fall for anything. You know, and a lot of people, they lack standards. It's like, you know, there's nothing wrong with a woman having standards, nothing wrong with a man having standards. But I will say this, as far as those standards are concerned, make sure that your standards are realistic.
Yeah.
And you mentioned something about, I didn't say height or how he looked and, you know, stuff like that. You know, and I understand people have this list, you know, like, well, he has to be 6 foot. He has to have a 6-pack. He's got to make 6 figures. I've heard a lot of women say that stuff, which is utterly nonsense. And not that you can't desire that. But the question becomes, and it's the proverbial question that people throw out there, well, what do you bring to the table?
Yeah.
So, and I won't even say that, but I just throw it out there. I didn't say that, but others say that. But I will say, do you match that what you're asking for?
Yeah.
In many cases, a lot of people do not match what they're asking for. You know, so it's like you want people of this caliber, but are you of that caliber?
Right.
And if you're not of that caliber and you're growing to that caliber, that's fine. But if you're just like, no, he has to do this and he has to do that, and that's not even you.
Yeah.
You know, it's like people, this stupid term that people use, high value man, high value woman. And I'm like, okay, I get the point. But it's like, you know, a woman says, I want a high value man. Well, are you a high value woman?
Right.
Do you know what the requirements of a high value woman is in this environment, and that not just in one environment, but in multiple environments? It's not the same, you know. So I don't know if that answers your question at all, but I think it probably went off on a tangent there.
A little bit. Speaking of, let's talk about high value men versus I guess traditional men.
Okay.
And high value women versus traditional women.
I think they can be one and the same, because I don't think that their value has anything to do necessarily with income. You know, I think, and I've said this to you before too. So women say, I want a man, he has to make 6 figures. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. But here's the reality. Only 10% of the people in this country, the United States of America, make $100,000 or more. So consider that. 10%, that is black people, white people, Asian people. That's everybody.
Yeah.
10%. Now, depending upon what ethnic group you're in, depending upon where you want to pick a mate from, 10% of the people. So, are you one of the 10%? And if you're not, there's nothing wrong with that. But only 10% of the people make $100,000 or more.
And that is including women.
That's including women. That's everybody. That's everybody. So I say that because a lot of times people place when they say high value, all that they think about is money. You know, high value. What about, because what I don't hear people talk about, what about character? What about a person's, are they honest? Are they a person of integrity? You know, what do other people in their peer groups say about them?
Are they carrying the fruits of the spirit?
Right. I mean, it's just like you got some people who make a lot of money, but they're horrible people.
Yeah.
You know, so by the standards that some people, especially I'll say in the red pill community, and I'm not against the red pill community, trust me, by those standards, get your money up and all this other stuff, I never hear them talking about those type of things: honesty, integrity, being a person of their word, you know, being a person that that really looks out for other people. It's just me, you know. So to answer your question, as far as and that goes for men and women, as far as high value. Now, being traditional, I think that high value and tradition, being traditional, can be one and the same. They don't have to be two separate things. Okay. So men, for the most part, now we got different type of man nowadays. In some cases, you know, men are typically it is innate in us to provide and protect. So I'll give you an example. So, you know, and then we were talking about this equality thing a little earlier. It's like everybody's talking about, I want, you know, women, I want equality. Okay. All right. So, and I know a lot of women can fight. I'm not in the fighting, you know, and I don't, my wife's not in the fighting. You're not in the fighting. A lot of women can handle their own. But if somebody comes up and punch somebody in the face, right? Punch a woman in the face, and that's horrible. She's not gonna go look into another woman. It's like, hey, I need you to get him. Yeah. No, she's gonna go look at somebody stronger than her. So, and there's nothing wrong with that. But again, like I said, you know, the whole traditional role and stuff, you know, for men and women and equality, they all can be like one and the same. But let me remove equality out of that equation there.
Actually, no, because I want to touch on something, because you just said something about equality. Mm-hmm. Men hitting women.
No, I don't believe in that. You know that.
I know, but women hitting men as well.
Listen,
because if you really want equality and a woman is beating on a man, I feel like he has the right to defend himself.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that. I mean, if you want true equality, you know, and here's the thing that I could never understand, right? You know, and I know women, you know, you guys traditionally, you know, you talk more than us, you know, and I've seen women who want to jump up in a man's face and I'm like, wait, you know, this dude could knock you out.
Yeah.
Now he's not going to do that in most cases. Yeah. You know, but if you put your hands on him, you know, what a good man will do, or he'll walk away.
Yeah.
But if you keep putting his hands on him, then he's gonna have to defend himself, because it might go from you putting your hands on him to you grabbing something else and stuff. Then he's gonna defend himself. Yeah. And then it's like you know, I don't think that women should put themselves in such a vulnerable position, because, you know, when emotions get involved and things can escalate very quickly, and then people get hurt. And you know, so I think that women have to respect the strength of men, and men have to respect the strength of women. They both are strong, but it's just in different ways.
And this is why I really I'm not going to say I pride myself, but I would prefer, like, if we have a disagreement, I'm not having a screaming match with you. I will just talk to you like this. If you get frustrated, you get frustrated. But my thing is, I'm just going to try to de-escalate the argument as much as possible, and then we can talk about it like adults.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And I will say, I do not condone men putting their hands on women. I also do not condone women putting their hands on men. Right. But just for the equality's sake, that's why I brought up that example.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good example, because unfortunately it happens too much. You know, we see that. I saw some video, and this woman is some guy was doing something, and this woman just comes up to him and has like a pan in his hand, and just like hits him over the head with the pan. Now, it was some prank video or something.
Yeah.
So I don't understand this stupid stuff that people do. Y'all gotta forgive me. I don't understand it. So the guy is, for some reason, he gets some harebrained idea. My wife is out, but she coming home. So let me go in my kitchen and put on her robe and throw a wig on, so that she gonna think it's another woman cooking up in her kitchen. So the wife comes home, she sees what looks like a woman because she can't see the front of him, and she grabs a frying pan and goes upside his head. And then the wig flies off.
He walked into that.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I mean, it's the stupidest stuff. Like, number one, it is so immature. It is so, I mean, it's you demean your own wife by doing stupid stuff like that. I mean, I understand people are doing stuff for clicks and for likes and stuff, but that's how far we've gone with this internet stuff. I mean, sometimes it's like, too much internet for the day. I was like, come on, it's the stupidest stuff I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But no, I do not condone men putting their hands on women. There's no sense in that. I do not condone women putting their hands on men, because if you do, you're gonna get hurt. Now I understand some women can handle themselves. Yeah. I remember I was a kid. Oh my goodness. I was a kid. I had an aunt who's passed on now, and she was married to a guy. And me and my brother and sister, we went to her house for the weekend. And she lived in this apartment complex. And we were up. There was this show, this back in the day, I'm dating myself. There was this, I think it was like a Friday night or Saturday night. Mm-hmm. It was this show that came on called Creature Feature. Creature Feature. And I remember we were watching that with my aunt. And then we just heard all this commotion outside. Well, this woman outside, something was going on with her guy or whatever, and she was just beating this dude. She was a big woman too. This sister can handle herself. That little dude was just like, she just had him all up against the fence, just pounding him. Now, I don't condone that. Yeah. I don't know what the guy did, but you don't want to see stuff like that. I mean, it's just like, it's not necessary. Yeah. So if the guy's that bad, then you need to think about doing something else, maybe. Yeah. So.
All right. So I want to touch on one more topic before we wrap this up.
All right.
Is chivalry really dead? What are your thoughts? Because I have some thoughts.
I know you do. I do not think that chivalry is dead. I think that, see now we get back to that whole issue of traditional values. Mm-hmm. And I think that traditional values are not going anywhere. They just don't get talked about and demonstrated enough. Yeah. You got all of this negative stuff that gets talked about more. And so we see more of that in the culture. I say that because there are a lot of guys who have traditional values. So for them, it is, and they've seen chivalry modeled for them as they were growing up. Yeah. So whether it's men opening doors, whether it's deferring to the opposite sex, I don't think the chivalry is dead. I just think that what happens is, in the age that we live in now, it's not even a microwave generation. There's so much negativity that gets pumped into our atmosphere. We think that that's the only thing that's taking place. Yeah. But there are good relationships out there. There are good men out there. There are good women out there. And I will say this, and I've said this to you, and I'll say this to everybody else. So to every man, I'll say this. If you're looking for a good woman, she's out there. Now, I hear guys say all the time, well, there's not enough of them. Well, all you need is one. That's all you need is one. Yeah. If you're one of these dudes, it's like, I gotta have choices. No, you don't. You're only gonna marry one. Marry one. One is enough. That's it. She gonna be all you can handle. One. That's all you need. And to the women, I'll say the same thing. You don't need a a room full of eligible bachelors that you can choose from. I mean, they're gonna be choosing you, but you don't need a room full of them. All you need is one good guy. That's it. You don't need to be like, well, let me try this one out and try this out. No, find one good one. One good one will find you. Make yourself available to be found, and that one good one will find you. That's all you need is one. So to answer your question, is chivalry dead? No, chivalry is not dead. It just doesn't get as much press as the negative drama gets. So, and I think that's by design.
Yeah, I think society has. I don't think chivalry's dead. I think chivalry is dimmed.
It's dimmed,
and
yes.
I think that's due to, like you said, social media. All the drama happening on social media. And every time we see someone like opening a door for someone, or someone bringing somebody flowers, just because everybody's like, oh, I wish he would do that for me, or that's what I aspire to. Like, you can have that. You just have to find, like he said, you just have to find the right person who will do that for you. So no, chivalry isn't dead. I think just in this generation, it's a little dimmed. And honestly, I think that it needs to be brought back to the forefront.
Yeah. And to your point, and I'm speaking to like the red pill community. You got the passport bros. They get their passports, they go into some other country to try to find traditional women, and because they want to be able to exercise and practice chivalry. And they want that reciprocated. So, but you have a lot of women here in this country, in your home country, that, everybody's not out there hanging out in the clubs and just want to date everybody out there and stuff like that. The question becomes, because people say, well, where can I find good people? Well, not saying good people aren't in the clubs, but I would say might be a little hard to find them there.
Yeah.
Might be.
Yeah.
Not saying that they are at this party and that party. Might be a little hard to find them there. Go to where people who are doing the things in life that you aspire to.
Yeah.
So if you aspire to being able to take advantage of opportunities, being able to, whether it's start a business, whether it's, hang out in areas where people are doing that, and then you'll find the men that you're looking for, because that's where they hang out. They're not necessarily hanging out in clubs. They're not hanging out, in large crowds of people, and everybody is where there's just a lot of riotous living. They're more conservative, not necessarily in their views, a lot of times, but they are hanging out in specific places because they know, if I want to build something with my life, then who I surround myself with, and that's the other thing too, who they surround themselves with matters.
Yeah.
They can't be, I don't want to use, I use the word ratchet very loosely, but people say, oh, it's this ratchet behavior. You're not going to find them around that, because that's not their life.
Yeah.
They don't want that. They want to be as far away from that as possible. So any women out there who are looking for good men, trying to find them in ratchet places, you might find one, you might find some, but the majority of them are not hanging out there. So,
all right, guys. Well, this wraps up episode, I guess this will be episode 3, part 2 from our last conversation last week. We hope that you enjoyed. Again, I am Ashley,
and I'm Frank.
Daughter, aka Dad.
That's right.
And we will see you next week.
Sounds good. This has been fun.
This has been fun.
Now, what are we talking about next week?
I think we will hold off on that.
Okay.
It'll be a little bit of a surprise.
Keep them in suspense. I love it.
We're going to keep you in suspense.
All right, good deal.
We'll see you guys next week.
Sounds good to me.